month in a leap year. So we hope obviously you're going to leap with us, but firstly we pay our respect to our ancestors, for those who had paved the way for us in their sacrifices, to enable us to enjoy the privilege in this time, for myself in a foreign land, because no doubt, I have traveled, I've traveled from I would say a paradise to now reside in a place where it's cold, and there is hidden dangers, insofar as the environment, the cold, the rain, But anyway, we're trusting that you had a fantastic week. I'm here today with my cousin, my family. Yeah, so, cuz, just come in and let the people know we're in the place.
You want me to do my thing? Hi, this is N. And I'm here with my cousin, and we're bringing to you Concept Taras. RASSS. We were here last Sunday, but we hope to make this a talk show. So I'm going to give you the telephone number. Please write this down and ring in with questions. The telephone number is 07944 431 366. I will repeat that, 079 444 31366. We're going to bring you politics. We're going to bring you youth issues. We're going to bring you current issues. We're going to bring you knife and gun crime. We're going to bring you we're going to talk about absent fathers. I think you heard of the report that was done yesterday that was saying that absent fathers are a major factor in respect of knife crime. But we do have a special guest here today that will be speaking to you about immigration law, the Windrush, etc. Clive?
Yeah, we're going to touch on that. I know that, the present issue around this coronavirus, which is within our community, and it's now international. Yeah, so we're going to be touching on all the issues, but we're also expecting some calls because a number of people already have been venting their vexations. Some people are at the end of their tethers, like they themselves are saying to Ras. Yeah, but for those of you who don't know what Ras represents, we're talking about our young people, where our main concerns are in regards to the scourge besetting our community, the knife and gun crime. So we know that our young people, outside of love, what they need is real, active, structured, supported solutions. So we aim to create an umbrella whereby you, the community, can engage in enabling us to set up this umbrella organization, to which when you have your issues, your problems, and you bring those problems to us, we can redirect you and empower you to those who can facilitate and to address those issues for you. Yeah, so we're looking at the coronavirus because obviously that's pressing. So insofar as this week, what I'd like to say is obviously it's been a busy week. I myself have completed the training. I was embarking on the training for the last 12 weeks, and that is dealing with building strong families as well as strong communities. So in order for us to be able to deal with the problems that's besetting our youths, we need to be more like a village, but at the same time, the parenting is the key. They're the first law that our children are aware of. So effective parenting, to a certain extent, is what we need, but we're conscious also that austerity no doubt impacts. So the only father that is absent, as far as I'm concerned, is where God is not in your life, then that father is the one that must always be there. So if you are saying that father is absent, then you can't be surprised as to your circumstances and your situation, because God have to be in everything. That represent the other side of our take, which is WRATH. God is not best pleased with us. He's concerned about our well-being, relationship, attitude, where we place our trust on our truth, our hopes, and our aspiration. So that is where we are. God is not best pleased. So this coronavirus, example of his anger upon us. The flood again, example of his anger upon us. The fire, that is around in Australia again is example upon us. So we're going to be teasing you. So we want to know what is your ass problem out there. You understand? Because we want to also be able to say to you, we not got to ass. Okay?
But in terms of that, you know, when you say enough is enough, I've just had it. I've had my fill. The colloquial term is boy to us. And this is what we're bringing you. We're bringing you a concept. We're bringing you solutions. We're bringing you a talk shop where you can say enough is enough. I want the solution to this particular problem. This is what I'm going through. You tell me how I get there. You tell me how I can get there. And if you can't tell me, we will tell you and we will introduce you to the people who will help you deal with your problem. In terms of that, to us is usually used as an exclamation, i.e. when you have a eureka moment. And I do remember my father saying this when I was small, when something astounded him so much that it brought him to a higher level of understanding. He used the colloquial term, to us. And I used to laugh because I thought it was a swear word. But when you're actually faced with problems and you have nowhere to go and you say enough is enough is enough, please join us in saying to us, because we will bring you the solutions.
Yeah, because you are the solution. Who feels it knows it. Yeah? I'm sorry, I might sound a little bit out of breath, but I've just had to run downstairs and open the door because our guest has arrived. And our guest today is Mr. Markus Muirhead, and he's a representative of Obaseki solicitors, who are a special, what do you say, they're very special in our community. I myself, there's a track history with myself and the firm. They've represented me on some legal matters, which is part of my trials and my tribulation. But the reason why we've invited him here today is because one of your sons within our community, namely Graham Burke, which I'm hoping that he'll be here also. And when I say Graham Burke, I'm really talking about Joy Gardner's son. Yeah, for those of you who is familiar or maybe not familiar with that name, Joy Gardner. Joy Gardner is that lady to which was mummified. Yeah, mummified by, do I say it? Yeah, why not? Yeah, she was mummified by the police in an effort was to remove her from this country through the hostility that we're presently seeing being netted out to that Windrush generation, of which I am part of that generation. And this family for the past 25-30 years has shaped my life, yeah, insofar as where I take a stand, it's pain, yeah, but nonetheless I'm grateful obviously for Markus for being here, and he will be able to address some of the issues, the more technical side, and I'm hoping Graham is going to be here. My cousin here, she is very much into the legal aspect, so she's going to give a hard talk, hard representation, hard questioning insofar as quantifying ourselves as to how we move forward. So Markus, I welcome you. I'm honored to have you. Thank you for giving up your time, not just for myself, but also for the community out there. We treasure yourself, particularly in this time, in the hostility that we're confronting out there. And again, I was on my way down this evening, and a gentleman, Anthony Bryant, who I last saw, I think, when we was at Westminster.
It was at the Houses of Parliament.
Yeah, at the House of Parliament. And he himself is so angry and frustrated.
Yeah, he was in the Windrush Commission with us.
Yeah.
Can I just give out the phone number again, Clive, so that when people, they know to ring with their immigration issues, so that we can discuss, we can talk, we can see if we can put you on the right path. The number to ring is 0794 44 31366. I will repeat that, and I hope you have a pen ready. It's 07944 431 366.
Okay, yeah, so Marcus, welcome, and for the time, just relax yourself, and then, we're just getting into the flow of things, and then, we'll hopefully touch on a few things. I was saying earlier what I was doing, though I haven't said the aims and the objectives, but I think we've got a jingle that will basically cover the aims and the objective as to what Ross is.
But I think people would also like to hear from you, so...
Okay,
so
well...
Marcus, I welcome you. I'm the one that's going to be giving you the hard questions, so be prepared. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, myself, I'm on a long journey, I've mentioned the Joy Gardener, again, I'm in a community which is Haringey, and I can't go without respecting Bernie Grant, because he's now with the ancestors, and I myself, I was fortunate to be at Alexandra Palace at the funeral. At the time myself, I was a councillor, so I had the privilege of being driven down there in the mayor's party, and I was sitting behind the family.
Living it big?
It's not living it big, it's just making me realise. And when I was up on top of the hill, Alexandra Palace, even though Bernie wasn't with me, it's like I was saying, man, I could see the promised land.
Yeah, you were at the
and I could see that you're here, but you're not here. Yeah, and then I remember Classford being up there on the platform, and he was speaking on behalf of the community. And then having worked with Classford for a number of years around the football, seeing Bernie Grant there when it comes to the presentation of the medals to the young people, who had tried their best and had aspired and did their thing, and then when I talk about Bernie, he's so passionate because he took me to the House of Commons. I was there with Chile.
We have a call, so...
We've got a call already?
Yeah.
Man, okay. Yeah, so with that, man, the passion, is as such that I'm a bit...
Yeah, I think we have a call.
Off track.
Caller.
Yeah, we've got a call coming in already. We can't even get off.
Hello, caller.
Hello there.
Hi, welcome to Bless Radio.
Yes, good evening. Good evening to you all.
Good evening.
Yes, I called last week. This is Madam P, and I called last week.
Sorry, I cannot hear you. Are you close to your radio?
Yes, very much so.
All right. Well, if you could turn that down, because there's some feedback and we cannot hear you.
Oh, no, I haven't got the radio on. Sorry about that.
Okay, so, sorry, madam. Could you tell us where you're calling from, please?
I am calling from Hertfordshire.
Hertfordshire.
Yes. And I'm calling about the money about the UK that they have been receiving for the people who go down. This is a continuous call from last week.
Okay, so I think I remember your call from last week. You were talking about the Jamaica 50 deportees, is that correct?
Yes, and those other that are already gone down, and about the money that the UK government is giving to the Jamaica government, and these people are not receiving the money or any else.
Okay, so that was aid for the deportees that were going from the UK to Jamaica, and you're wanting to know if they receive aid and have assistance. Is that correct?
Yes, and those that have already gone, are they receiving any aid, or is there anybody following what is going on with these people?
Okay, thank you. I think we have your question. As soon as Marcus is interviewed, I will be posing that question to him, and I'm asking you to stay tuned to your radio and listen for the answers. If the answers that you do get from our guest is not sufficient, please call again. Thank you.
Okay. Bye.
Thank you. Thanks
okay,
for
yeah,
calling.
thanks for your call. I was just getting into the flow, I think, of things, yeah? Yeah, I've kind of lost a bit of my track.
You were talking about Bernie Grant. And being
it being an Haringey, but the long and short of everything right now is I'm at the end of my tether. I'm vexed, yeah? And
So
I'm
when you're
wondering
vexed,
to myself,
what do you say?
I'm just wondering what it is that's going to take us to realize that our back is against the wall, as Markus Graham had said. Yeah, and again, you know, when I went to my solicitor and I saw Markus, you know, that name just resonates. You know, that means, you know, because our parents are oftentimes, you know, we choose the name that we give our children. Yeah, so having a name like Markus, you know, it means you've got footprints that are obviously there in order to step into. Yeah, so I'm therefore honoured, obviously, to have a representative from the legal field with us, and we're obviously again concerned about the ongoing knife and gun crime within Haringey. There was, I think, the sixth form. They did a feature insofar as a film came out that is addressing some of the issues besetting our young people.
Okay, so what is the film called?
It's called I'm Out. I mean, I can't really comment on it because I didn't see it.
And where is it being
It
shown?
was in Wood Green.
So it was in Wood Green.
Yeah, it was in Wood Green. I found out because somebody had given me the call, but I wasn't invited to the premiere,
Right.
as per se.
So
But-
is there any sort of feedback from the presentation of the film?
Well, that we'll have to throw to the listeners. So maybe, you know, if there is any listeners out there that had managed to go and see the film, maybe they can give us a take as to whether it presses any of the button, if it addresses some of the issues, and then how they see the whole thing improving the situation amongst our young people,
Okay,
because
so-
we want to engage with the community, young and old, yeah, but more so with our young people. And again, I'm hoping Graham will be in here in order to take on some of that, yeah, in order to move ourselves
So
forward.
if we want people to telephone, can I give the number out again for those who are listening, who saw the film that dealt with knife crime and the situation and the events surrounding current knife crime? And the telephone number to ring if you have a comment on this, good, bad, indifferent. The telephone number to ring to talk to us about this film is 079 444 079 444 313 66.
Yeah, 66.
I have to say it in that rhyme, so I'll repeat it once more. 079 444 313 66. Look forward to hearing you ring.
Okay. Yeah, so there were the other some of the things I was doing. I also was at a meeting this week because, you know, there is the leadership and the deputy leadership election coming up. Yeah, so I was party to one of those meetings.
Where was the meeting?
Oh, this took place in Edmonton. I'm not altogether sure as to whether I'm entitled to mention the name, but one of the contestants or contenders was there, and I can say she gets my vote primarily because I believe, when I'm conscious of the fact that one of our MPs stepping down from, like, would you say, the front bench. That's one of our old soldiers who was one of the original 3 or 4 MPs that was elected at the time of Bernie Grant, when Bernie Grant was in. So she, no doubt, is stepping up. That was one of the comment I made to her. Now that say D is stepping down, you know, yourself as D, are you now gonna step up now as to deputize?
Right, so you're asking the MP that you met whether or not she's going to jostle for a top position.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Namely,
And the answer was?
well, she's in the race, but she's yet to be selected by those who are us, who are members.
So it's the leadership race. And
No,
then
she's going for the deputy leadership.
I think I know who you're talking
Yeah,
about.
well,
I think everybody.
yeah, sometimes it's always best not to call names because things are so politically.
I think we know who you're talking about. The forerunner for the vice deputy.
Yeah,
leader.
and I think the country needs her because now that we've vexed it, because
now,
I don't
this
say
is where we're going to disagree.
Yeah, well, we're entitled to. That's why we're opposite sides. Yeah, because and that's another thing that you who are listening out there. Yeah, we are of different mindset. Yeah, and as a bookman before, yeah, I'd said, yeah, your mind yeah, is a very powerful weapon because it determines your action. Yeah, and yeah, I have to say respect to Bookman as well, because one of the things he had touched on, because he was dealing with the slave trade to a certain extent, as to how society historically have exploited us. Yeah, and one of the last things he was talking about was John Wayne. Yeah, now when you know where you're coming from, John Wayne off the screen is a Morrison. You understand? And I've got that slave name. Yeah, so somebody needs to pay me and take it from me.
So you're also a fighter.
I need somebody to pay and take this name from me. Yeah, my fight is the fact that I'm from Jamaica and I'm from St. Thomas.
Yeah, we are.
Yeah, I'm from St. Thomas. You understand? So I go anywhere, anytime. You understand? And then the other thing is, those that know my journey, yeah, I am married to my community. I'm not married to any party. Yeah? If I'm at a party, I'm there for results.
You're talking about a political party.
A political party.
Right, so you flit to whichever party is going to do the best for your community.
For my community.
Okay.
You understand? Mm-hmm. So I went to a certain party to Brexit.
All right, we know what that party
understand?
Is.
And instead of Brexiting, we end up Vexit. Yeah, because we're dealing with just vexation right now, and a lot of you out there, even though you criticize, you don't even understand the tricks. You do not understand the tricks, and politics is a thing that whether you're in it or you're out of it, it still affects you.
You're still affected.
Yeah, so you might as well be on the inside of fling the stone than outside a chore, and you at least when you're inside, you can see who you are lick.
My attitude to that is, if you're not on the inside trying to make the changes occur for your community, what are you doing?
Well, you failed
if you're
twice.
just standing there criticizing and you're not joining in and being part of the solution, then what really are you doing?
Yeah, because
come on.
Yeah, because you don't engage, you don't empower yourself. Yeah, then when you get somebody who come and not the way you want, you are complaining. What a sense? You understand? You have to be in it.
To win it.
To win it. You understand? So the likes of me, yeah, when I stand up in a question time, Caribbean question time, and Norma was by me, because even though she's a conservative...
You don't have to tell everybody who I am. I think it's obvious.
Okay.
I'm not ashamed of it, by the way. I can stand my ground. And
so what?
First of all, congratulations to Boris and Carrie. There's going to be another little Johnson in number 11.
Okay, listen. Yeah, you can...
Let me just say that. Let me just get it in.
Well, me now congratulate nobody,
right.
yeah?
That's
where my
right.
concern is, like, you see the situation with Priti Patel. Yeah, you know what the problem is, listen. That is racism, you know.
No, come on.
Listen. I saw that started when Diane was shadow Home Office Minister.
I don't accept that.
We're talking about institution.
Listen,
yeah?
when you go from Priti Patel's track record and find out where she is today,
meaning
it's a disgrace. It's not racism, and you cannot call racism out whenever there's a problem. That word is overused. If the woman is inept and she's not running the Home Office properly, and we're going to hear about the Home Office.
Okay, so how long has she been in there?
With the Windrush. Okay, this is politics.
Yeah, how long has she ain't even got in there yet?
No, there was Javid, and now there's Priti Patel. But hold on, the ineptitude of the Home Office is nothing to do with Priti Patel. The way she's running the Home Office at the moment is what the civil servants have a problem with. And what we don't, or what some people don't understand, is that politics is run by the civil servants, not by the front runners.
Okay.
And she has a civil servant there that is not going to comply with the immigration bill that Boris brought in and that she's frontlining. She didn't write it. She's frontlining it. That's where the problem is.
Okay, and there, as you say, lies a problem, because
it's not racism.
No, but that institution.
It's politics.
No, but how can you say it's not racism when we've always had this hostile environment?
The hostile environment is okay. When we start talking about Windrush, and when we start talking about the Home Office and how it works and the appeal process, then we can have this conversation again, Clive.
Well, the point I'm making there is this hostile environment is irrespectful of whichever political party is in force or in power. You understand? So it means that he has been part and parcel of the changes of government, but he's always remained the institution. So he is responsible.
Who? Who's he?
He being the person who's now been
The chief civil servant.
civil servant. He's
the
been there for X amount of years. I wasn't aware of him until
Really?
until Diane went in and she flagged up something.
Seriously?
And then Pretty has now flagged up something else. So to me, yeah, as an anti-racist, that indicates to me institutional racists. They don't want us in there because I know whenever you're in there, it's like you're a whistleblower. They can't be themselves.
Clive.
But anyway, let's calm this down.
We're gonna come.
Let's calm this down.
We're gonna come back to this.
And it shows you where I am.
I love you still, Clive.
Yeah, I will because
I love you still, cuz. But politics, don't get me started.
yeah, well, we ain't supposed to be talking politics.
All right,
yeah,
Taraz,
We're, because
come on,
we're
bring Taraz, bring concept
we're
Taraz.
the fourth and everything. Yeah, yeah. Anyway, yeah. So you've got the number 07944431366. Yeah. So we want for you to be engaging. And obviously, again, we were saying we've got our main guest here, Markus. He's going to give his take on there. I can take a step back and I will put him in the hot seat. Norma will introduce and it's going to be hard, but it's not going to be intimidating.
Listen, Markus can cope with anything.
Okay.
Come on, we've been to
Right,
the same
so
school.
yeah, let me just go and get myself something to drink and
Wow.
cool out for a little while, so that Markus can take his chair. Yeah, and I'll be roaming for a little while. I'm expecting Graham, and hopefully I'll make some phone calls. Yeah, again, Mr. Bryant, if you haven't got the number, 07944431366. Yeah, so we're looking forward for your engagement, your questioning, and yeah.
So we're looking forward to that. So Markus is here. We're going to be speaking about the Home Office, possibly Priti Patel, and Windrush. So please call. Telephone number is 07944431366. It was playing before. Leon,
Jingle.
which one for the jingle?
Welcome to Concept Terrace. Real active structure. God is not best pleased with us, man. Welcome to Concept Terrace. Real, active, structured, supported solutions. And on the flip side, WRATH. God is not best pleased with us, mankind. He's concerned about our well-being, our relationship, our attitude, where we place our trust, find our truth, and place our hopes and aspirations. A holistic vision. Two concepts designed to provoke a debate amongst communities, young and old, institutions as well as professionals, the educated and those who are experiencing it firsthand on our streets and society in general. We're hoping you will join us, Concept Terrace, to improve our communities. Outside of love, what our young people need is real, active, structured, supported solutions. support in the right directions. There are good and bad examples out there, and forever will be out there. We learn from our experiences and mistakes. Our youth needs individuals and institutions they can trust, to rely on, to give direction, to meet their needs, aspirations, ambitions, as they meet life's challenges as they move towards adult life. They therefore need an extended family network. We need to stop the stabbing and shooting, and we have used the number 2 to represent this new millennium, to hook as well as to direct. In the beginning was the Word, and if His purpose and intentions are good, let's not dwell on the Word but put into collective actions, for action speaks louder than word. We need to work holistically and in harmony with all concerned in youth provisions. Our aims are to offer a rasuk that grabs the attention of both youths and adults in relation to their rights, responsibilities, reasoning, respect, as to how they relate in order to find resolution for a harmonious community. Objectives are to inform and empower young people to meet their needs by means of network providers who have a history of good delivery outcomes through training, engagement, and real active structured supported solutions. Our objectives again are to create and support youth forums with the police, professionals, voluntary groups, mentors, local authorities, individuals again within their localities. We aim to promote national and international events with partners to tackle common issues, promote cultural harmony and good practices, promote concept terrace across boroughs as well as communities. We're saying we're fed up. Enough is enough. We need to also merchandise Concept Terrace as a business brand. This will have street credibility amongst its users, partners, associate business as well as individuals. If this grabs your attention, then why not visit our website at conceptterrace.com or link us on Facebook at Concept Terrace, or indeed even email us at conceptterrace@gmail.com. Our aim is to form an umbrella organization so that when we say, what is your RAS problem? And you let us know the problem, we also are in a position to empower you by saying to you, go to RAS. Yeah? And then these people will meet your needs. Yeah? So to God be the glory. Right, you're on.
So Marcus, thank you very much for accepting our invitation to come and join us on Concept Terrace. My name is Anne. This is my cousin Clive, brother Clive, and you're Marcus. Tell us about yourself.
Well, basically, I've been practicing as an immigration advisor for approximately the last 10 years. I do a wide range of work in respect of the immigration field, in respect of applications, making representations on behalf of clients, and I also do advocacy before the first tier immigration tribunal and the upper tier immigration tribunal.
Right, so you have a lot of dealings with the Home Office, is that correct to say?
Yes, I do.
And in terms of the Home Office, and I've actually stated this on very many occasions, that it's totally unfit for purpose, needs a revamp, etc., etc. What is your take on that? Would you say that from Javid to Patel, the Home Office has improved?
What I would say is I'm one of those people that are highly critical of the Home Office. I accept they have a job to do. I also accept that they need to ensure that people are here legally, and there has to be some form of control and a system. However, what I find with the Home Office is that the way they handle applications and deal with people is more coming from the top in terms of politicians and politicians' sound bites than actually having a sensible application of the law and the rules.
So give us an example. So by saying that, and I think I understand what you mean, is that the rules are there to be implemented, i.e., but they're not implemented by the civil servants on the ground.
They're not implemented correctly. So what you find, what's an interesting statistic is the Home Office have a high turnover in terms of when they have refused applications and they've gone to appeal. A large proportion of those decisions are overturned on appeal. That would suggest to me that the initial decision making is incorrect.
But I think that's standard in any case, in any legal case. If you have a high proportion of cases that are overturned, it would mean the original decision is just wrong.
Exactly, but then we're saying, okay, people pay a lot of money for applications. If you're applying to leave to remain, or you're applying for a family member, a spouse to come and join you from another country, you're often looking at fees in the region of £2,500 to £3,000 in terms of Home Office fees.
Right.
And you're saying per person, you're not talking about legal fees if you've instructed the solicitor or immigration advisor. So then that means you're paying for a service. How can you be paying such a high price for a service where decisions are consistently wrong? Which would mean that the service that you're paying for, I would deem, is not very good. If we had a case of people buying washing machines and you said, okay, you're paying £1,500 for your washing machine, and 40 to 50% of those people who were purchasing those washing machines had to bring the washing machine back because it was defective, there would be uproar. However, when it comes to immigration and how the Home Office goes about things, we hear a deafening silence, especially from our politicians. And I would also say quite damningly, especially from our community, because we often concentrate on the wrong issues.
All right. Explain.
Okay, so a common theme that I have with a lot of clients and people I come across is with Brexit. And people often say, oh, it's a good thing with Brexit. I'm not going to say either way. People have their beliefs. But they often comment and say, oh yes, because it's about time that things were made harder for EU nationals because it's too easy for them. Now, I always correct people and I say that's the wrong argument to have. The argument to have is not divisive and say, oh, these people are treated better than me, they should be treated worse than me. We should be having the argument and saying, why can we not be treated the same?
Exactly.
Why would we celebrate somebody getting treated in a way that we're unhappy with and say, oh, that's much better because now they're being treated as badly as us?
So instead of bringing people down in terms of treatment, we're supposed to rise or raise the standard up to the level.
Yes.
All right, I get that point. So there's another question. You've been dealing with immigration for approximately 10 years. That's the side of the law that you specialize in. The percentage of your clientele, how many would you say was West Indian? I'm cutting to the chase.
I would say maybe about 40%, 50% of my clientele are West Indian. It's quite an even split. What I would say is Afro-Caribbean. So
Afro-Caribbean, all right.
The majority of my clients are either from Africa or from the Caribbean.
Right, okay. And in...
Sorry, go on.
No, go on. And in terms of what I'm trying to point you to or direct you to, and I think what a lot of people are interested in is the Jamaica 50, but not just the Jamaica 50, but the deportee situation that stems from Windrush, children, grandchildren, etc. What is your take on that, and what is your experience on that, more importantly?
Okay, well, first of all, I think they're two separate issues. And I'll explain my reasoning why. I remember attending a Windrush debate at the Houses of Parliament. And I remember I was one of the panel speakers. And
Sorry, Marcus. We have a caller. Hello, caller. Hello. Hello, caller. Hi. We're just trying to. Hello, caller. Can you hear me? Hello.
Hello.
That's better. Hi. Hi. Could you say possibly your name if you want to and where you're calling from?
My name is Benwan, Hesketh Benwan, and I'm.
You're calling from Haringey. Thank you. And you're calling. Do you have a question for Marcus? Clive. You have a question for Clive?
Yeah.
Okay, Clive.
Okay, yeah, Hesketh, I was just busy responding to your text.
I'm really pretty patient. I just wanted I'm going to try. I'm keeping trying, and I just wanted to bring it to the debate about the parents.
Yeah, well, at the moment we've got Mr. Markus Muirhead from the solicitors, the lawyers dealing with immigration. Yeah. So if there's any questions that you've got presently on the immigration, we'd be happy to take that at the moment. But we're not really dealing with the parenting side at this present stage. We dealt with it at the earlier part of our introduction.
But we might revisit it if necessary.
Yeah, but if you can pick up the signal and then you could follow us, then maybe, unless you've got something that deals with the Windrush situation.
All right, I'll do that. I'm still trying. I'm getting my son to try and see if he can get it.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'm not getting into the signal. I'm not hearing you clearly, actually.
All right. Well.
Yeah. Well, we'll get back.
Keep trying. Let's see if I could
Thank you. Thank you very much. Right. Sorry. Thank you. Thanks for calling. Bye.
Bye.
Sorry about that, Marcus. Sorry. We were talking. Let's pick up the thread again. We were talking about Windrush and the deportees and how they're two separate tangents.
So I remember speaking on this panel, and I had an opportunity to make a particular point, aside from the overall Windrush debate. And the point I wanted to make was about the deportation system.
Yes.
And people often play to the headlines, especially within the black community, because it frustrates me, especially as a lawyer.
So the headlines were...
So what you often hear is rapists, murderers, drug dealers. That's the headline.
Criminals.
And everybody can say, you know what, if someone's a murderer, if they're a rapist, if they're a serious drug dealer, obviously you don't want them in the country if there's a possibility to remove them. However, what I often ask this question. There is often reports that have been government-led, and they have confirmed consistently over the last 10, 20, 30 years that when ethnic minorities are placed before the justice system, they're often given harsher sentences than other communities.
And that is a reported fact.
And that's a reported fact.
Yes.
Yeah? Uncontested.
Yes.
Okay.
That's something
So
we can agree on.
We have a system which says, in respect of deportation, if you have been sentenced to 12 months or more in prison,
and you're not a citizen,
the Home Office are duty bound to seek your deportation. So I said, ask this question. So if we accept that if you're black and from an ethnic minority, you're going to be dealt more harshly by the justice system, that means that you're more likely to get that 12 months or more sentence.
Yes, it's almost the catch-22 situation.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what that then again means are who are the people that are most affected by deportations and the immigration system? And I would say it would be the black community.
Yes.
Okay, so We accept that we're more likely to be treated more harshly by the justice system.
And have less access to
and
justice.
have less access to the justice system. But as soon as we're told by politicians that, yes, we just all want to get rid of murderers, rapists, drug dealers, any foreign-born criminal, then we all say yes and jump up. And it's only when it then starts to personally affect us, or we actually read stories where we see, well, hold up, yes, this person committed a crime, but as I was reading an article for one gentleman, his crime was burglary.
Yes. Hardly first offence?
It was not his first offence. He did have, admittedly, he did have a number of convictions for burglary. But does that mean that he is a serious threat and danger to the public and society? Secondly, he was also had spent the majority of his childhood in the United Kingdom. So I always ask, if you were born in Jamaica, for instance, and you came to the United Kingdom at age 6, and you've never been back to Jamaica, and from the ages of 18 through to 30, you have a series of convictions. Was your criminality made in Jamaica, or was your criminality made in the UK?
Were you programmed to be a criminal in
Yes.
Jamaica, or programmed to be a criminal here?
Yes.
I hear. I understand.
So I often say we need to look at deportation separately for those reasons.
Oh.
In respect of the Windrush, what I say is it was a case of the hostile environment which came down from Theresa May.
Theresa May.
And it's about society at large, where if you're an illegal immigrant, you're suddenly deemed as a criminal. Whether you're an economic migrant, whether you're a genuine refugee that you're
Or an
fleeing
invitee.
for, or an invitee. And what I often say as well about the Windrush is that what people often forget is while the Windrush generation were in one sense invited to the UK, if you actually look at the history and the facts that is documented, we were invited by the employers. So NHS, London Transport
the rail
wanted
system.
us to come, or my grandparents to come. However, at the same time, when the actual Windrush ship was coming and leaving the Caribbean,
One of the 5 ships.
one of the 5 ships, they actually tried to redirect the ship from coming to the UK, because they didn't want all of these brown people to come to the United
I think my father ended up in Spain before he came to the UK.
Kingdom. So I think what happened with the Windrush scandal shouldn't be a surprise to any of us, because it's been a consistent theme and thread throughout
Our lives.
the history of immigration and our lives. So from a personal point of view, I was born in the UK. My mother was born here. My father was born in Jamaica. Both sets of grandparents were born in Jamaica. I'm often asked, where are you from? I say Britain. I'm then asked, no, but where are you really from?
I am asked that
where
as
your
well.
grandparents
Surprisingly, yeah.
And one day I was thinking about it from the point of law in terms of my role as an immigration advisor. Well, both sets of grandparents came to the UK in the 50s. So when they came as British citizens.
Yes.
So they didn't come as Jamaican citizens, they came as British citizens. So where am I from? Well, I'm from the British Empire. So the way I deem it is we ask the wrong question. Because we're saying to people, where are you from? Oh, you're from Jamaica. You're from, well, no, because really and truthfully, you're from Britain. The British Empire covered a third of the known world at one stage and was flying red, white and blue. The Queen is the head of state in much of the Commonwealth, the majority of the Commonwealth. The Queen is still head of state. So these countries have ties to the United Kingdom.
Yeah, well, if I can come in there, because I look on it even from my name point of view. Now, I look and I say, well, I'm a Morrison. Yeah, where did I get my name? Yeah, now if my name is an African, that means the person who had given my name, in some sense or in some way, there's some allegiance, yeah, insofar as loyalty and as to where my identity then either had been stolen or where I belong. Yeah, so because I've got an English name, that means, as far as I'm concerned, common sense tells me that I'm British. Yeah, so are we saying there then that because the law won't support that statement, that I am likely to be deported at any time unless I can prove some legal through paperwork that say I to a certain extent belong here?
Well, yes, I mean, essentially that's what the hostile environment means. The hostile environment was intended or is intended to make it as difficult as possible for people who don't have the right or who are deemed not to have the right to be in the UK. So whether you are here legally or not, whether you can be considered British or not, the way the system operates is that it's irrespective. It's whether you can prove it. And the way the Home Office works, it's very much on the applicant or the person, it's very much on the person, the individual, to prove their right to be in the UK. So how the Windrush scandal developed was very simply through people might go through a sudden change. They might just suddenly have lost their job, had to go and sign on for the first time in 30 years. And if suddenly they've been told, okay, can you prove that you have the right to be here? Well, I came on my original passport when I was 6. I don't know where it is. I was given a national insurance number when I was 15. I've worked since the age of 15, 16. My grandchildren were born here. My children were born here. I can prove my tax history, but at the end of the day, the way the system operated is that wasn't the question that was asked. Can you provide a legal document to show that you have the right to be in the UK? And at the same time as being asked these questions, we also had a Home Office in the late 90s under a Labour administration, I believe, that actually destroyed a lot of the records that were held.
I think they were found in Kew, weren't they?
File. So a
landing
lot
cards.
of the information was no longer there because the government department who should have kept these records had them destroyed, saying they were no longer needed.
Valid. Yeah, or required.
But that's not our fault. I mean, that's irresponsibility is on their part.
But the thing is that it's when you say it's not our fault, I think the fault in believing that we have an automatic right to British citizenship just because we were born here is what is harbouring and hampering a lot of the Windrush applications or the thoughts or the negativity surrounding Windrush. There is no automatic right to have a blue British passport just because you were born here.
Well,
is there?
I'm not.
That's good. That's no. That is actually correct.
But that's according to the law.
Yes, but at the end of the day, we can have the philosophical debate about what makes you British or not. But that aside, we have to also look at the realities. And if we don't accept the realities and learn how to navigate those realities and deal with them, then we're still going to have these problems coming around continuously and affecting our communities. I see lots of clients where there's children who are born in the UK, but because their parents may not have had the correct status at the time of their birth, they're not British citizens. And if we allow those children to go through life believing that they are British citizens and we don't try and pass on the correct information to show them how you become legally, formally recognised as a British citizen, all we're doing is we're loading up problems for the future where if those young people get in trouble or if those young people suddenly have to come against the system. There's loads of young people I see who they believed that they were British and suddenly they got to the age of 18 and realised they couldn't go to university with all their friends, realised that they couldn't get driving licenses, realised that they couldn't open bank accounts, realised that they couldn't go on holidays, as most 18-year-olds now, 19-year-olds seem to be able
Gap
to
years.
do.
Okay.
Um,
So on that then, how is it then that the European citizens can, they say, after a period of 5 years, get their citizenship, and then we could be here for, as you say, 18, 20 years and still find it to be a problem?
Well, this is the problem that I always say to it. It's again that divisiveness, because the issue is we say Europeans, and we say Europeans as if there's no black Europeans. Now, on a daily basis, I do EU applications, and yes, it is easier. But I deal with lots of people who are European nationals who are from the black community.
Okay, so are you saying there that it's easier if the blacks are in Europe and they apply?
No, because it's
that-
about nationality. So what I'm saying to you is, if you are a European national, because we were a member of the European Union, because we had various free trade agreements and freedom of movement, and part of that was that if you were a European national, you could move freely within Europe. And we should stop looking at it as they're treated better than us. No, Europe and the United Kingdom were part of the European Union until the 31st of December of this year.
Brexit
We
Day.
still operate under EU rules. And as part of that club, nationals of that club were given certain rights. That does not have anything to do
With the
Windrush and how
It's a
we
separate
deem
issue.
that you're treated if you come from certain countries. So we should not always say, why is the European allowed this? No, there's a particular club of countries that had a particular agreement, and as part of that, if you were a national of one of those countries, you had certain rights. That's got nothing to do with racism. It's got nothing to do with
Well, I am trying to understand it, but I'm trying to get, if I was from Germany,
yes,
say I had German citizenship,
yes,
and I come and I'm here,
yes.
would I be able to use that European citizenship as, let's say, as a black person and get a British passport? That's the
Yes,
point
it's
I'm
the same.
making.
If you're a European national, colour doesn't come into
It
it.
doesn't come into
It's
No.
still
it.
European.
So if
Yes,
there's an issue
European.
there, it would be in the country of origin that you're coming from.
If there's an issue, there'd be an issue with the Home Office in terms of presenting the evidence that you need to provide to show that you
You're
qualify.
European.
Because it's not just about being an European national. It's a bit more than just coming and saying, oh, I'm a European national, that means you have to give me a British passport. No. You have to be a European national. You have to be exercising treaty rights as a worker, as someone who's self-employed,
criteria.
who's self-sufficient. Then you're initially granted 5 years. Once you have been exercising your treaty rights over that relevant period, you're entitled to permanent residence. And once you have been granted permanent residence, you're then entitled to apply for
Citizenship.
British citizenship. Yes, it's easier, but it's not, what can I say? It's not easier because of the British government. It's easier because European governments came together and they decided our citizens need to be treated as one
Right.
amongst EU members.
So it's a whole
So
different
it was a
ball
thing
game.
of, as
It's a
again I
whole
said,
different
we
ball
asked
game.
the wrong question. So as somebody who identifies as black British, for example, that means I could go to any EU country and exercise those same rights. I could get up, go to Germany, start living in Germany, work in Germany, and obtain
German
the right to
citizenship.
reside, and if I can follow their rules and procedures,
And speak their language.
and speak their language, obtain German
Citizenship.
citizenship. So again, as I say, we asked the wrong questions because we should have been making use of those rights, and a lot of the times we have been in an indirect manner in terms of being able to travel throughout Europe without visas, without any issues, which in my lifetime, I mean, I'm 45 this year. And in the last 20 years, I've seen more black people travel and go on European holidays than I've ever seen. And what we don't realise, or some people don't realise, is this is part of us being
Europe.
part of Europe. Because
Yes.
what happens is we turn up, we flash that British passport, and we say, yes, I'm a member of this club. And we had advantages with that.
Okay. All right. So, like myself, I came here in '69, and at some stage, I think it was in the '80s, I realized that I needed to get citizenship. I resisted. I didn't want to pay because I'd been here from '69. So I didn't see the problem as to why, or the reason as to why I should be paying for it. I paid for it in the end, but where would, had I not paid for it, would I qualify for to be able to have a British citizenship now, or would I
Yes,
be
you would
deported?
qualify. You would qualify under the Windrush scheme.
But he
that's
would still have to
providing you-
pay, would he?
Not under the Windrush scheme.
Not under the Windrush scheme.
But that's only because we've had this scandal.
So tell us
Okay.
about the
So
Windrush
that-
screen. Elaborate,
So
please.
just a moment.
Sorry.
Does that mean I'm entitled to be reimbursed?
No,
What do you want to...
not under the compensation scheme. Okay, so you have the Windrush scheme and then you have the Windrush compensation scheme. The Windrush compensation scheme is for people who should have been deemed as British or having legal status in the UK, and because it was deemed that they did not have legal status in the UK, they were denied some right that they would have been entitled to. So as when we've heard stories of people who've been denied NHS care, people who have had their social housing or their council houses taken away, people who have lost their jobs, because you would have applied for your British citizenship before the Windrush scandal under the rules at the time, you can't
No.
look to get any money back. If you had not applied and had your status sorted out and you came to me now, then I would say, okay, you came in 1969, you were one of those people that qualify under the Windrush scheme,
compensation
and we would
scheme.
just start to obtain the relevant evidence to support it. What I would say, and I'm a very big critic of the Home Office, what I would say, however, is the Windrush scheme is an example of how the Home Office can get their systems right in respect of how they deal with people. Because the Windrush scheme is the only form of application where I've dealt with the Home Office, where the Home Office will actually do some research to obtain information on behalf of applicants. It's the only application that I've ever done where it's so light touch, where I could provide general information in terms of dates of when you came here, in terms of if I can prove you have a national insurance number. They will go away and look
They will do
for the
some work.
records, and they will actually do
Okay.
some work.
All right. Well, I was expecting Graham to be here by now. I think he's in with yourselves at the moment. So, how is that shaping up?
Well, I mean, I'm prevented from how much I can say without him being here.
Okay.
Um,
Well, I
and
mean,
having
I
his-
respect.
I have. I mean, I have had a conversation with him, and he did say that he was expecting to be here, and he was happy. But still, without him here,
No.
there's
I-
only
no,
some
no.
information.
Because that's why I'm on this.
What I
side,
would
basically.
say, I can say on his case, is that application has
So
been
let's
submitted.
retract for listeners
Yes.
that possibly have just joined the program. Graham Burke, our next guest, is the son of Joy Gardner. Joy Gardner was forcibly sort of restrained in front of her 4-year-old son approximately 25 years ago in an effort to deport her from the UK to Jamaica. And in being restrained, she unfortunately died. Her son, Graham, who is supposed to be our next guest, still hasn't got his British passport. He's now 25. How old is he?
30s, yeah.
He's in his 30s now. Still has not got his British passport. Clearly, his mother is no longer around to help, but we have records, we have lawyers in the form of Markus that's helping his application. Now, the travesty of justice is that had his mother not been forcibly detained and deported, then possibly she would have been made a British citizen. So therefore her son, by also virtue of his mother, would also have been a British citizen. He would have then been able to work, national insurance number, do all the sorts of things that everybody does as a citizen. But this young man, at the age of over 30, is still struggling and fighting for British citizenship recognition. And this is where we are. So Marcus, on a roundabout way, can you fill us in as to what's happening with Graham's application?
What I can say with Graham's application is currently being processed by the Home Office. Because of the nature of his circumstances, he does qualify under the Windrush scheme, on the basis that he was a person from a Commonwealth country, from any country that was in the United Kingdom prior to 1988 and has been in the UK since that time. Graham was actually born in the UK, but he was born after 1981, which, in respect of the British Nationality Act 1981, which was brought in by Margaret Thatcher, if you are born in the UK, but depending on the status of your parents at the time of your birth, means that you don't automatically have the right to be classified as a British citizen. In Graham's case, it would have been possible to to register him as a British citizen on the basis that he was born in the UK and spent the first 10 years of his life in the UK. However, the problem is one of money and finance. And for that application would have been in the region of about £1,100 or so.
Less than 2,000.
Less than 2,000, but more than 1,000.
Right.
So because of the financial constraints, after speaking to Graham and finding out enough about his situation, I was able to advise that it would be possible to obtain him status under the Windrush scheme. However, he would not be granted British citizenship. What he'd actually be granted is indefinite leave to remain. However, for someone in Graham's position, this would be a godsend because it would allow him to work legally, get on with his life, and actually then save the money so that he is able to pay that fee for citizenship and then become a British citizen.
Okay, but I mean, if everyone listening could actually donate a penny or even a pound, that could help.
Yes, then it could help.
This is what
it's
unity.
I would say the fact that they've taken his mother's life, there's no compensation. There's, that to me is a very painful situation.
It is a pain. It's a painful amount to pay, bearing in mind the circumstances. But if it has to be paid, and this gentleman, this young man, needs help to pay it, then I think my first thought would be to start a major appeal, and not only to help Graham, but to help all other people that are in this position.
I mean, can I just interject?
Sorry.
Because my issue that I've always had this is, if we don't join a system or learn to navigate the system, we as a community are not going to improve our lot. So I'm very much of the mind, yes, the amount that the fee is unfair, but it is what it is. I'm not saying that we don't campaign and try and see if the fees can be reduced, but at the same time, in order to progress and in order to obtain certain things, sometimes you need to pay that fee and do what needs to be done. For my part, what I did is I said to Graham that I would offer my services free of charge.
Bono.
So we've not charged him a fee, and I'm grateful that my boss was understanding and allowing me to run the case in that way. But I think very much in terms of as a community and the mentality that we have, we need to understand and learn that if we don't navigate the system in terms of how it operates and learn that system. We're never going to improve
Yes, I'm with you there.
our lot.
I'm with you there. I'm in terms of navigating the system and
Yes.
overturning it.
Yes,
That's my stance.
yes, very much so.
Okay, so we're now sort of, I think, segued into talking about finance in Windrush. And my absolute horror with the Jamaican government is that they have not refused to accept the deportees when the plane actually lands at Norman Manley Airport in Montego Bay. Why on earth has the government not said this is not our responsibility, notwithstanding the fact that Britain has a rule that if you're sentenced to over 12 years, if you're not a British citizen, then you're automatically deported. That goes throughout the whole of the land for any nationality. But why has the Jamaican government continued to accept the deportees? And secondly, Marcus, when they do accept them, why is there no follow-up? Nobody knows what's happened to these deportees once they land in Jamaica.
Okay, right. This is big two questions. Right, first of all, in respect of international law, you cannot deny your citizens entry into your country. So if the Jamaican government were technically to just on face value refuse to accept these deportees,
But they're not
they would
citizens.
be,
They're
no,
almost
they are,
stateless.
No, they're
Almost.
not status, but they are Jamaican citizens.
Okay, so if
Because you have to look at it from the point of under Jamaican law.
right, okay.
So under Jamaican law, if you're born in Jamaica and you're born to Jamaican parents, you are a Jamaican citizen. So even if you left the country at 6 months of age, you're still classified as a Jamaican citizen.
But as I understand it, some of these deportees were born here, but because their parents did not have British citizenship, they also have no papers. And as a result of that, they're deported because they're not officially British citizens.
Well, under the law, if you were born in the UK after December 1981 and your parents did not have indefinite leave to remain or British citizenship at the time of your birth, or refugee leave, asylum, then you're not deemed as a British citizen. And the mistake in our community is when these children or when these young men or young women reach the age of 10, having been born in the UK, we should have been registering them as British citizens.
Right.
And it's down to us, people like myself as lawyers, to get that information across to people so they understand this is what you need to do.
So by the time the child is 10, let me retrace, you have to register them and apply for their citizenship? That's
Yes.
the best thing to do.
Yes, if a child's born in the UK and has spent the first 10 years of their life in the UK, under the British Nationality Act, they are able to apply for registration as a British citizen.
Okay.
Because it's deemed under the law that although your parents may not have had the recognised status, you've spent a significant portion of your life in the UK having been born here. So you should now be able to obtain British citizenship.
Thank you.
And there was a recent High Court decision in respect of the immigration fee charged for those types of applications, and the court ruled that the current fee is actually too high.
Yes.
And have invited the government to
Reduce it down to
reduce the
less than
fees.
1,000.
Yes,
Yeah.
look at it.
Okay. Can we open up the line, or is there no callers?
I can't see any callers coming in, so I'm going to repeat the number once again. But there was a second part to the question, Graham. I'm not letting you off. Okay, so the telephone number, if you have an immigration question, is 079 444 313 66. The lines are open. We're waiting for your call, and we have Marcus of OBC Solicitors here as your legal person. Okay, so I will repeat the number once again. It's 079 444 313 666. We're just going to play a little jingle, and then we'll go into the second part of the question, finances.
Yeah, and Graham will be here shortly. He's just not too on the phone. Yeah, so we look forward to Graham coming, and then we will continue after the ad. Welcome to Concept Terrace. Real, active, structured, supported solutions. And on the flip side, WRATH. God is not best pleased with us, mankind. He's concerned about our well-being, our relationship, our attitude, where we place our trust, find our truth, and place our hopes and aspirations. A holistic vision. Two concepts designed to provoke a debate amongst communities, young and old, institutions as well as professionals, the educated, and those who are experiencing it firsthand on our streets.
Everything Chris, man. How's everything going?
We're hoping you will join us, Concept Terrace, to improve
All
our
right, but I want
community.
phone in and
Outside
video
of
for the
London, what our young
present
people need is real,
Friday.
active, structured, supported solutions.
Instead I want phone in to big you up for Friday just gone.
Yeah, we're presently dealing with immigration and the Windrush. There are good and bad examples
All right,
out
then.
there,
So,
and forever will be out
what you
there.
want to you want to
Learn from our
phone
experiences.
back or you want to
and
want
yeah,
to do this?
if you've been able to follow the program, and institutions they can trust. Yeah, I'll phone back and say next 15 minutes or 20 minutes. To meet their needs,
All right, no problem, no problem.
ambitions,
Bless
up.
All right, because I'm not able to follow the program still, but anyway, no problem. Yeah,
bless.
cool.
They therefore need an extended family network. We need to stop the stabbing and shooting, and we have used the number 2 to represent this new millennium, to hook as well as to direct. In the beginning was the Word, and if His purpose and intentions are good, let's not dwell on the Word, but put into collective actions. For action speaks louder than word. We need to work holistically and in harmony with all concerned in youth provisions. Our aims are to offer a rasuk that grabs the attention of both youths and adults in relation to their rights, responsibilities, reasoning, respect, as to how they relate in order to find resolution for a harmonious community. Objectives are to inform and empower young people to meet their needs by means of network providers who have a history of good delivery outcomes through training, engagement, and real active structured supported solutions. Our objectives again are to create and support youth forums with the police, professionals, voluntary groups, mentors, local authorities, individuals again within their localities. We aim to promote national and international events with partners to tackle common issues. Promote cultural harmony and good practices. Promote Concept Terrace across boroughs as well as communities. We're saying we're fed up. Enough is enough. We need to also merchandise Concept Terrace as a business brand. This will have street credibility amongst its users, partners, associate business as well as individuals. If this grabs your attention, then why not visit our website at conceptterrace.com or link us on Facebook at Concept Terrace, or indeed even email us at conceptterrace@gmail.com. Our aim is to form an umbrella organization so that when we say, what is your RAS problem? And you let us know the problem, we also are in a position to empower you by saying to you, go to RAS. Yeah? And then these people will meet your needs. Yeah? So to God be the glory.
Hi, we're back with Marcus of Obasi Solicitors. We're talking about immigration, Windrush, and the whole shebang. Now, we spoke about actually applying for citizenship before the break, and we now want to go on to the financing, i.e., why the British government is sending people to Jamaica, and Jamaica is accepting them. We've heard that the British government is offering. I think it was £26,000 per deportee or a figure like that. What is happening to the money? And are these reports false?
Okay, I cannot confirm whether money is being paid or not. If what I would say is, if money is being paid, I would suspect that it's very much less than £26,000.
Sorry, maybe it's my exaggeration. £6,000 per deportee.
Per deportee.
Sorry, yes.
But if any money was paid over by the British government, it would be paid to the Jamaican government for the purpose of the Jamaican government being able to deal with an influx of citizens. That doesn't necessarily then mean that that money is necessarily to be
Handed?
passed directly to the deportees
Really?
themselves. Yeah.
So what is one supposed to do when one is deported?
What that means.
What is one supposed to do? There's no charity in Jamaica that supports this?
No, there are charities in Jamaica that support them. I mean, there is financial constraints, but again, it's one of those things that I think the answer needs to come from within the community. And it needs the community to get together to actually support these people, rather than sometimes us looking and saying, oh, they were criminals. And
You're using the government term, these
so
people.
But we need to, if somebody is deported, we need to look at it as a community problem.
I feel
and
like
assist.
another drive for a charity coming on. I really do.
Assist the deportees. I mean, I think there's a number of issues, because I also think we're storing up problems in terms of the mental health of those children who are left behind, in terms of parental separation, because often once somebody has been deported, then there is
The family unit is broken.
the family unit is broken. People often sometimes will lose contact. As somebody who has lived in Jamaica for a couple of years, I have seen what life can be like in Jamaica, especially if you have no money. So when you've got people who haven't often been back to Jamaica in decades, may not have a large support circle in Jamaica,
or any support circle.
or any support system. So literally it becomes a daily battle for survival. And when it's a daily battle for survival, whether it's having a roof over your head, whether it's having food so you can feed yourself, whether it's trying to get a job so you can try and move on with your life, where does that leave you the space to contact your children? Because often you may not have the funds to, you may not have the phone. You may not have if you have the phone, you may not have the money to buy the credit for the call. If you have nowhere to live, you may have the phone, but you can't charge it anywhere.
So it's a whole sort of catch-22 situation. There's a whole circle that actually needs to be addressed. Funding will help.
Well, I think,
and a supported, structured sort of charity or follow-up mechanism should be in existence.
Yes, good evening. Yes.
I think funding, and also I think in terms of like, and a good example is, okay, like the recent deportation flight to Jamaica, where about 25 of the deportees were, by a High Court decision, the Home Office were prevented from putting them on the plane.
Yes.
Now, that was brought by a group of lawyers and a charity called Detention Action. And what the charity actually did is they done research. And often that's what we have to do, and look at our strategies for changing the law, for changing how deportation is looked at in respect of the effects on the children that are left behind. The way the law currently works is, if you've been sentenced between 12 months and under 4 years, usually it's if the deportation would be unduly harsh on your partner or unduly harsh on your child. Now, the way the actual legal system works is the courts have decided most people are on 2.5 years. So anything short of indefinite leave to remain, the courts have deemed that your leave is precarious.
So why haven't we not enacted the human rights Article 9, the right to a family life, in
Well,
terms of
sorry to correct you, it's Article 8.
Article 8? Sorry,
Right.
yes.
We do. Lawyers always call Article 8, but again, it's a misconception. And sometimes it's the news. Sometimes I think us as lawyers need to accept responsibility as well. Now, Article 8 says you have the right to respect for your private and family life. But Article 8, there's 2 paragraphs. So the first paragraph confirms your rights.
Yes.
The second paragraph says these rights can be interfered with if it is in accordance with the law. If. So if we have a law that says if you meet this criteria we can deport you,
And it overrides
I
it.
can scream Article 8 and human rights till the cows come home.
Yes.
But however, your deportation is deemed as in accordance with the law.
the current law. Right. I stand
So it's
corrected.
not, people often think Article 8, private life, is an inalienable right and there's no exceptions. No, it always says if it's in accordance with the law. So you can have laws that are legally able to interfere with your Article 8 rights. And you will, I'll often see decisions where a judge will say, I accept that the circumstances of this case brings forth Article 8 rights, and I accept that there would be an interference with those rights.
So there's a but sentence.
However,
yes.
that interference is in accordance with the law, and when you're talking about deportation, it's couched in the terms of foreign national offender.
So then
So,
it overrides it.
yes.
I get it. Wow. Thank you, Marcus. Thank you.
Okay, all
We-
right.
we
So
welcome-
does that
Yeah.
cover everything?
I don't know. I still have more questions. I really
Okay.
would love you
Well,
to
you can
come
always
back.
ask away, and I'm always happy to come back.
Thank
well,
you.
Well, obviously, yeah, you're always going to be welcome. You're part of the family, part of our community, and without a doubt, we need you.
And I thank you for
and,
Thank you.
you
what-
being
clearly
interrogated.
What we're trying to do, and thanks to management, we're trying to establish a network that we can reach out amongst our professionals who are out there by offering an umbrella, like a one-stop shop. And there are a number of people who are out there who are angry, frustrated, but it's frustration of lack of knowledge.
Knowledge is power.
The greatest power, and again, as we've touched on earlier, about empowering ourselves, because the people who impact on us are those who establish these laws. And in order to effect and to make changes to these laws, we have to empower ourselves. So we need to have the right to vote, to select, because there are a number of things which are not in our favour, but we are now in a position to make the difference insofar as empowering ourselves in order to put ourselves in all the institutions.
What I would say is I think we've always had the ability to empower ourselves, but it's about choice. So when we were off air and we were having a discussion, I made the point that lots of people in the black community, we don't vote. Well, if we don't vote, why would politicians listen to us? Politicians have self-interest. At the end of the day, when they go on the news, when they're in the newspapers, when they're speaking, it's because they're looking for votes. If we don't vote as a community, why are they going to listen to us and pay attention to us? Because we have no impact on their lives. If we vote, we have an impact. Because you can, if you look at elections and you look at sometimes the margins of a vote, you will see sometimes it's a few hundred people, it's a couple of thousand, and you think the majority of people don't actually vote. A minority
I
of
think it's a
people.
45% percentage, isn't it? It's
I
less than
think
45%
30% of the
of the
actual
electorate,
voting of the
yeah.
electorate vote.
that actually.
Well, I think it's
vote.
not just
And it's
about-
most probably even smaller if you look specifically
You go to down
at
to
the black
demographics. Yeah.
community. So the first thing is, if we vote, there's power in our vote. Because the more of us vote, the more of us have the ability then to affect the outcome of an election, which means that politicians now have self-interest in being interested in our issues and our problems.
But I think what we have to remember is that the politicians are put there by the electorate and they're supposed to serve the electorate. It's not the other way round.
Yeah, that again might well be
Yes,
the
but
case.
as I said, that proves my point. Serve the electorate that vote.
Yes.
If you don't vote,
You can't serve, can't be served.
But again, from my experience, is that it's not just about voting. Yeah, we need to empower ourselves to be in the position to select who we're voting for.
We need to be.
yes, we do. But I think the first
Selective.
point is if we vote. If we start to regularly vote collectively, it's like a knock-on effect. If we're starting to vote, even political parties then look, okay, I want to win, say, Haringey. I know that has a large black community. I know if I can get these 10,000 votes, we win. Okay, let me look for an MP that I believe can win over this community because their vote is so important. Then we get to start to have a say in who we want to represent us. But it's a chicken and egg scenario.
Yeah.
Until we start initially exercising that basic power of exercising that vote, there's no reason for anybody to pay particular attention to us.
Yeah, and then again, it's strengthened as a collective as opposed to the individual vote.
Definitely.
Yeah. Okay, right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you,
Thank you
for
Marcus.
your time.
Thank you.
Yeah, and your knowledge and the experience which you've shared with us. Okay, right. Yeah. So we've got Graham in the house, and we'll be going not necessarily into interviewing. Yeah, and then we will try and see as to what we can engage yourselves on. The line is still open. The number is 079-444-31366.
All right, thank you.
Welcome to Concept Terrace, real, active, structured, supported solutions. And on the flip side, WRATH. God is not best pleased with us, mankind. He's concerned about our well-being, our relationship, our attitude, where we place our trust, find our truth, and place our hopes and aspirations. A holistic vision, two concepts designed to provoke a debate amongst communities, young and old, institutions as well as professionals, the educated and those who are experiencing it firsthand on our streets and society in general. We're hoping you will join us, Concept Terrace, to improve our communities. Outside of love, what our young people need is real, active, structured, supported solutions. Support in the right directions. There are good and bad examples out there, and forever will be out there. We learn from our experiences and mistakes. Our youth needs individuals and institutions they can trust, to rely on, give direction, to meet their needs, aspirations, ambitions, as they meet life's challenges as they move towards adult life. They therefore need an extended family network. We need to stop the stabbing and shooting, and we have used the number 2 to represent this new millennium, to hook as well as to direct. In the beginning was the Word, and if His purpose and intentions are good, let's not dwell on the word but put into collective actions, for action speaks louder than word. We need to work holistically and in harmony with all concerned in youth provisions. Our aims are to offer a RASUK that grabs the attention of both youths and adults in relation to their rights, responsibilities, reasoning, respect, as to how they relate in order to find resolution for a harmonious community. Objectives are to inform and empower young people to meet their needs by means of network providers who have a history of good delivery outcomes through training, engagement, and real active structured supported solutions. Our objectives again are to create and support youth forums with the police professionals, voluntary groups, mentors, local authorities, individuals again within their localities. We aim to promote national and international events with partners to tackle common issues. Promote cultural harmony and good practices. Promote concept terrace across boroughs as well as communities. We're saying we're fed up. Enough is enough. We need to also merchandise Concept Terrace as a business brand. This will have street credibility amongst its users, partners, associate business as well as individuals. If this grabs your attention, then why not visit our website at conceptterrace.com or link us on Facebook at Concept Terrace, or indeed even email us at conceptterrace@gmail.com. Our aim is to form an umbrella organization so that when we say, what is your RAS problem? And you let us know the problem, then we also are in a position to empower you by saying to you, go to RAS. Yeah? And then these people will meet your needs. Yeah? So to God be the glory.
Okay.
Right, yeah, respect. Yeah, we've got in the studio Graham, and yeah, we're not really gonna go into interview. We're just gonna really share some of Graham's life experience or journey, you know. So I'm fortunate to have been around Graham for the past 20, maybe 25 years, yeah, and I'm conscious as to some of the trials and tribulation, but I'm not here really to speak for him. I'm honored again to have his solicitor in the studio. Yeah, so Graham, I mean, tell us, man, it's been a little while still, you know what I'm saying? So what's been happening?
Boy, just getting on with life, you know, as you do.
Okay, so aside from the music thing, I mean, how's it been? I mean, I know you've had little run-ins like with the police. I mean, there's issues presently that you're dealing with on the immigration side, you know. Yeah. So what is it that is on your case right now that you'd like to vent?
So
Well,
can I come in here? Can I come in here? Can you hear me? Graham,
No, let me relax, man.
I think because we've only got 15 or 20 minutes, the reason that we want you to speak is because as an undocumented or unnaturalized person, how do you go about on a daily basis? I mean, you're not able to work, I believe.
no, I can work.
National insurance. So tell me
Just
about
traveling, right?
Yeah.
In terms, because I don't actually have my passport at the moment.
Right.
I'm in the process of, you know, applying for it, naturalizing and all the rest of it. And obviously, because I haven't had that, which is like my freedom pass to obviously travel all over the place, it's hindered certain opportunities for myself over the years. So obviously, now, obviously I've got solicitors involved, and we're dealing with the process to get it sorted out, so things can happen, you know.
So
yeah.
once that's sorted out, what do you intend to do?
Well, travel, of course.
Is that because of the music or?
Yeah. Because I've had several opportunities to travel to America in the past and do certain things out there, but obviously due to not having it, I wasn't able to do certain things. So it's obviously certain doors that could have opened for me and maybe taken me to another level hasn't obviously manifested. So yeah, there's a lot of opportunities in the pipeline, and once I have that, I'll be able to utilize them a lot more.
Okay, well, again, I'm not sure as to how the community out there is aware as to your creativity, but I know over the years, your music, I mean, I knew when you was playing football. You know,
Yeah.
my son again was engaged with you in the football.
Yeah.
So on the music, same,
Yeah.
because I mean I know that has been supporting yourself
Yeah.
financially. So
Yeah.
how's that music thing going now?
Yeah, it's going well. Obviously, I'm an independent artist. Have been for many years. Self-taught, self-developed. My forte is like songwriting, MCing, producing, and sound engineering. So I do all of those things. And obviously, I got my own studio, so I've my own recording facilities. I work with other artists. I've got my merchandise clothing brand that I've put together called My Things Different. I'm going to be duplicating those and distributing it as well as the music as well. So I'm working, you know, and obviously networking and building the empire.
So about the performance, are you in the clubs or you out at these festivals? Have you
I
reached
have
that
done
level?
in the past, but I was more focused on developing my overall sound, innit? So I kind of stepped away from that, rebranded the name, and that's all that's in the pipeline to come. So summertime and moving forward into the new year, that's when everything will be popping off. But I'm going to be releasing a lot of material this year as well. I've got
Okay.
a lot that I'm sitting on.
Well, again, obviously, I mean, I'm excited because as a younger, you know, the youth, the problem that we have amongst the street, I know that you've had to duck and dive in between, you know. So how are we going to deal with these problems that we've got amongst our young people, the knife crimes particularly? How are we going to deal with those things?
Well, of course, this is the knife and gun and knife crime has obviously been an issue amongst the youth for a while now, and obviously it affects the black community.
Well, what I'm trying to get, I want to know if you're putting this into the music or you're on the
What am
other
I
side.
venting about it?
Yeah.
Yeah. I touch on it definitely. I used to be a lot more conscious before though, when early on in my career in terms of these things. But as time's gone on, I've started to have a bit more fun with my creativity as opposed to being too, just what I'm saying, one dimensional or just on that. Because obviously, coming from where I'm coming from, you know what I'm saying, I've got friends that's been involved in certain things. I've obviously been involved in certain things, and obviously I know how these environments affect us, innit? So music has always been a vent and a way to keep me away from certain things, or at least help. That's what I'm saying. And I feel like music is a big, powerful medium to inspire people, and all of that stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm obviously clearly interested in your creativity side because it enables you to vent some of your anger as well as your frustration.
Yeah.
You know, so for now, we're just happy to have you. The studio, and we're going to be that support around you. You know, but we in the long term would like for you to a certain extent to be the voice.
Yeah.
Because we are at a stage now. We've got some experience we can pass on to you. You know, but you are that platform now. You're the one that's got the energy. So all that you've been through, we want to know that everything in life is for a reason. You know, we started today on immigration. You know, you got your representation here. Yeah. Unfortunately, you weren't here for him to, and you and him to engage with the public. You know, but again, Markus will be back again for the future, and as we get more familiar with the settings, then we'll become more comfortable.
100%,
So we look forward. Thank you for the time, and I don't know if Norma would like to say anything because I think you're at the stage now where you should be relaxed. You know, you should feel more comfortable. We know where we are and things like that.
Yeah,
you know? So what happened over the weekend then?
Well, weekend.
Good.
Yeah, man, it was alright.
Okay.
When I,
Okay. All right. Well, if we can get back on our track, yeah. Right. So thank you for your time, as brief as it is. Yeah. So we look forward to getting you back into the studio. Yeah. And then we will no doubt have more time to prepare. Yeah. So we want for you to be comfortable at more time, because we always want for you to be honest and be able to present what you have to present to us.
It's lovely seeing you again, Graham.
Yes, you
I've
too.
interviewed you before,
Yeah.
and you're
Yeah.
have a nice day, my friend.
I'm
Definitely.
Yeah, that's where we are. Yeah, so we're going to be winding up now, and you'd mentioned your merchandising. Yeah. So the garms that you've got, what is it? Caps, t-shirts.
At the moment, caps and t-shirts, but I'm gonna be putting it on other stuff like just everything. Just
Okay. And what about the
branding, innit?
music? What are you doing with the music?
The music, as far as promotion, I'm just trying to get sort of the marketing side of things. So it's all about the promotion, because everything else is on lock really in terms of the art itself. That's the least of the problems. It's just marketing it. So that's my main focus now.
Okay.
You know,
So
I've
you've
got
got something
nothing
that you can bring to us that we can help to.
Loads of stuff.
Okay.
That's what I'm saying. So it's just sharing it with the world now. Obviously the internet's there. That's a big platform, and it's a way to get whatever you're doing out there. So I think we live in an excellent time in terms of social media and getting this stuff out there. That's what I'm saying. So that's the focus.
Okay.
That's the
Okay.
focus.
Well, I mean, the thing we take away from here is what Markus had said in regards to getting your legal status sorted, because with that, no doubt you can fly.
Yeah.
And the experience you've got is relevant with the young people on the street at the moment. Yeah.
100%.
So thanks for your time, and we look forward to you returning to us. Yeah,
No
and
problem,
for
man.
whatever
Thanks
you're
for having me.
producing as well. Yeah.
It's nice to
Respect.
see you
Okay.
flourishing.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, right. Yeah. So where we're at now, we've not really had, and I know I'd missed some phone calls. So we need to make sure that this line is up and running properly for the next show, and we would like to be able to invite Markus back. I think we'd like to, if anything, schedule it for at least a couple of weeks so that we can, and we'll be looking on the knife crime. We've also got to look at the absent fathers, But I think we probably just close off the program over what is presently besetting us, the coronavirus. Yeah, the coronavirus, that is presently out there. Whether it's a blessing or it's a curse, but certainly we need to be mindful that it is spreading. We've not had a harsh winter, which normally we know that winters, cold weather's cut or kill the germs. So we're hoping that you're going to be careful out there, and it's a hard one, but I think we've just got to be mindful, and we're not at a stage where we're wearing the mask at the present, but I can see that we have to take precautions, and in so doing we've got to move ourselves carefully. So I'm hoping that insofar as we who are up, what would you say, we've got young children who are working in institutions where there are a number of people, that we do take the precautions, whether we have to wear gloves, because a lot of us use public transport, we use lifts. I'm not telling you to be overly fearful, but we have to be cautious wherever we go. And if you're traveling also, be careful how you're traveling. I believe last week we touched on the fact that there was a plane that went to, I think it was Grenada, and we don't know the outcome of the occupants of that plane, if they were put into quarantine. I believe the plane was from China. So we're dependent on you from the use of social media to keep us informed. But certainly we want for you to engage with us. We want for you to bring your skill set to us. If you're of the mindset that denies you, the information to be able to empower yourself insofar as your legal status insofar as training opportunities, insofar as empowering yourself politically. Yeah, you need to be now proactive. I think this has given us an opportunity where you have to take a stand, and we have to come together collectively, or more collectively, as a culture, so that we have our identity. We can say Africa to a certain extent is forever calling, yeah, but more so we need to find ourselves. We need to re-inject the love in our community, so that the love that is lacking amongst our youngsters, yeah, because as smart as the phone are getting, it would appear that our children are getting dumber to a certain extent, because they're dependent on the social media rather than us communicating amongst ourselves. Yeah, so I think that is a big issue for us, that we're losing the village mentality that was there before with us as a community. Yeah, so in winding down, obviously I'd like to thank Graham and more so Markus for the time. My colleague Norma, I'd like for you, my colleague.
Cousin?
Well, we're family, but in the studio we have to.
You're now distancing yourself from me.
No. Families can't distance themselves from one another. Yeah, we just have to be mindful. Obviously, we're off different mindset, but the idea is that we do complement. So eventually, everything is going to be a running smoother. Yeah, we're getting our things together. Yeah, so yeah. We're getting more and more comfortable. Yeah, so yeah, Norma, come in.
Right, until next week, people, thank you for listening. The number is, as stated, 079 444 31366. We hope that we have answered some of your questions today. And if we haven't answered some of your questions, we hope that we will be able to answer a lot more and throw a lot more insight into other matters. And two current matters that I would like to speak about next week, if at all possible, is knife crime. There was a report this week that says that the increase in knife crime is due to absent fathers. I would like to discuss that point. And also this coronavirus. Look after yourself, people. Until next week, this is N saying goodbye. Until next week.
Yeah, and those callers that we may well have missed, we look forward to reconnecting with yourself. And yeah, be very careful out there. The coronavirus continues to spread. Yeah, so just be vigilant. Yeah, and we look forward to reconnecting with you next week.
Take care.
Take care. To God be the glory.
Welcome to Concept Terrace, real, active, structured, supported solutions. And on the flip side, WRATH. God is not best pleased with us, mankind. He's concerned about our well-being, our relationship, our attitude, where we place our trust, find our truth, and place our hopes and aspirations. A holistic vision, two concepts designed to provoke a debate amongst communities, young and old, institutions as well as professionals, the educated and those who are experiencing it firsthand on our streets and society in general. We're hoping you will join us, Concept Terrace, to improve our communities. Outside of love, what our young people need is real, active, structured, supported solutions. Support in the right directions. There are good and bad examples out there, and forever will be out there. We learn from our experiences and mistakes. Our youth needs individuals and institutions they can trust, to rely on, to give direction, to meet their needs, aspirations, ambitions, as they meet life's challenges as they move towards adult life. They therefore need an extended family network. We need to stop the stabbing and shooting, and we have used the number 2 to represent this new millennium, to hook as well as to direct. In the beginning was the Word, and if His purpose and intentions are good, Let's not dwell on the word, but put into collective actions. For action speaks louder than word. We need to work holistically and in harmony with all concerned in youth provisions. Our aims